All right. Good morning and welcome to Failure to Stop Podcast, the #1 podcast for police-related breakdowns. I got a very special guest for you today to cover a good cop, a bad cop, and an insanely crazy drug story. To be honest with you, I couldn't even keep up with it in the pre-interview, so maybe I'll get it the second go-around. Today's show is brought to you by Sheepdog Holsters and Pig Latin. A seriously funny true story, but you're like, hold on, Eric, where's Ghost Bed? Where's Factor Meals? Guys, listen, the book tour is for the next 90 days of my life. And so I don't know what days I'm going to do the show, what days I'm not going to do the show, who's going to be substituting the show, because I have to get through the 90 days. And so I'm going to go pretty much ad-free and just promote friends and family for the next 90 days. But Pig Latin is seriously true story. We're climbing the charts. I think we're number 22 in law enforcement already. The book comes out August 26th. Go ahead and get your pre-order now. And yeah, I have got a lot going on. And I spent all morning this morning. I got a brand new phone. Couldn't get the updates to do on the own phone. So now I'm going with like no phone. Having to text the guests through my wife's phone. Stay with me. I know this is crazy. And then Sheepdog Holsters sent me an amazing custom holster to go over my chest. But I'm too stupid to figure out how to get it on not upside down. And but he was showing it. So anyway, that's why we're a little bit late. Let's jump into today's intro. Let's calm it down. Let's dial it back in. And let's have an amazing show, even though I'm extremely frustrated with myself. Here we go.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on Sunday.
This is about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
All right, guns up, giddy up. I think I figured this thing out. Hold on. I think I figured it out. Now I've got to fix my camera. Hold on. Let me bring on our special guest. Let me see if I got this holster on correctly. I can't hear. Wait, hang on. You're muted. Is it right? Am I good?
Yes, I'm very proud of you. You did it all by yourself.
What it took was me putting it down, doing the intro, picking it back up. And it was like, I felt like the Rain Man. You know, like, or what's that movie where all the like equations go running through his head? And he like,
you know, you remember you have kids, SpongeBob, where SpongeBob is just trying to get Patrick to open the lid, Patrick, the lid, and he just it's upside down. How did I put it on upside down? I'm like, I have no idea. How'd you do that?
Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now, and we're in the throes of it, and we're gonna get through it today. Thanks for coming on, Sheepdog Holsters. You want to go by? You're an active duty cop, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
So you want to go by like? Do you want to go by like your full God-given government name, or do you go by an alias for the podcast?
I can just go by Quint.
Quint. All right. Let me ask you this in the chats because we spent so much time trying to get this. I didn't do any audio checks, and I don't have a producer for the next 90 days. I'm doing it all myself while we're doing this book tour thing. Can you guys hear Quint? Can you guys hear him? Okay. In the chats, say yes or no if you can hear Quint very well or not. If not, we'll figure it out. But all right, Quint. So you got Sheepdog Holsters. I'm in love with these holsters. Mine says Vans. You made me one that says Vans. That's really freaking cool. I love that. I love all the holsters. I love all the custom holsters. We met because of my kids' skateboarding thing, and we're going to get into this breakdown because it's going to take a lot of time to do this breakdown. So I get it. But I'm going on Cleared Hot next week, and you made a custom holster for Andy Stump.
Yeah.
What like before we get there and I give it to him, I don't know what it looks like because I haven't opened it up yet. I don't know which one you sent. But what did you send and why? Like, what did you pick that particular holster to make him custom?
Based on, we'd done a little research, looked like he carried the Glock 19 primarily. So just a concealment holster inside the waistband with the metal DCC clips, and then a mod wing, which just pushes your pistol grip into your body, better for concealment, so it doesn't print when you're wearing a t-shirt.
Yes, I've never worn one of those before. I had to YouTube it and figure it out. Here's another question I have for you, because you've sent me 2 holsters. By the way, I carried a Glock 19, so I didn't even know that Andy Stumpf was into Glock 19s, but Big Daddy Transy is a Glock 19 guy, so that makes me feel good. Maybe I'm like on to something. Maybe I'm in the right field. But let me ask you this. What the fuck is the slap bracelet for?
That is a beer koozie, ding dong.
I knew it. So one of my other buddies, a big fan of this show, he also has he also bought one of your holsters, and so he was showing me that he bought one of your holsters. He's gonna buy another one, so he like traded a gun to get 2 new Glocks, and he's gonna order another one. And we were just talking about your holsters because he was trying to figure out what gun he should get and blah 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 blah. And I said, yeah, we were talking all about him. And he was like, bro, let me ask. He's like, I feel really stupid. I've been shooting for a very long time. I have done everything I could possibly do with that slap bracelet thing. Like I put it on my hip and try to put the gun in there. I put it like vertically, horizontally. Like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to cut it and like form it around my hip or something. Or is it like for the way? He's like, bro, I can't even find this thing on YouTube. So is it something he invented? Like, what is it? And I was like, dude, I feel stupid. I thought it was a beer koozie. And he was like, it's not a fucking beer koozie. Like, why would he send a beer koozie with a holster? Like, that makes no sense. Like, it's definitely some kind of neoprene padding. I just don't know how it works. So,
well, you nailed it.
I was right. I was right.
You nailed it.
I was right. Well, I appreciate it.
What got you into more than anything?
What's that?
I get that question more than anything. Hey, what is this thing? I'm like, hey, it's a beer koozie. Oh shit, cool.
Dude, I'm feeling like maybe you should like leave a note that says enjoy your beer koozie on the house or something like that.
I need to.
I'll tell you, dude, because he and I, after we conversated, that's a word, right? Conversated over it. I started like YouTubing it and trying to put it in my pants, and like even my son was like, Dad, what are you doing? You're going to shoot your wiener off. And I was like, dude, I don't know. I'm frustrated. I can't figure out what this fucking koozie thing is. Like,
yeah, no, you got it right. Yeah. So, a lot of times regular koozies, you slip them on and then you go to put them on the table and they can be warped and they, is my beer going to go down?
Yes.
Well, you do the slap koozie and you still have the bottom so you can just put it anywhere,
Very cool. I like that a lot. I like having this holster up here. So I have the in the waistband holster that I really like, but I like this one because I ride a lot of 4-wheelers. I ride my dirt bike. I mow my yard, and I always have a snake gun on my lawnmower. But my holster that I have zip tied rigged to my snapper, I got one of the Forrest Gump snappers. When you go to draw it, it will go up and down. It'll go up and down the shaft of the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's like nothing for the grip, the zip ties to grip onto. So now I'm just mowing my yard with this holster. Lázaro Lopez in the chats, who works for, I think he works for Staccato, if I'm not mistaken. I think he makes guns for Staccato. I'm not exactly sure what he does. I know he's a big gun bunny, but he says he likes holsters and booze. So fair enough.
Nice.
Are you familiar with Lázaro Lopez from the Drinking Bros?
I know that podcast, the Drinking Bros.
He's one of their characters, and he's super funny. But I believe that he works manufacturing guns for Staccato. But he does a lot of like advertising for Drinking Bros. He's the guy with the mullets and the big sunglasses, and he goes shooting with them, and Donut Operator and all those guys. He's been out to that ranch a whole bunch of times. But anyway,
he needs to hit me up. I specialize in Staccato holsters.
Oh, he specializes. Well, there you go. And actually, Lázaro Lopez, he's actually like a semi-pro or maybe amateur. I don't know. I don't even know if there's such thing as pro paintballer. So they have like a paintball team, and they wear like furry costumes to go play paintball and stuff. Like very, very nerdy, very weird character. But he's a character. He's an awesome guy. He's out of Texas. So anyway, good shooter and military veteran and whatnot. So There we go. Well, okay. So I met you. Let me just get on with today's show. I apologize, everybody. Abby Ellsworth on being a police officer in the live chat, along with Santana from Santana True Crime. Next week, when I get back from Montana, they will be interviewing me and doing like a 1 week out book special with me on Failure to Stop. So if you want to go and listen to my old episode when I first wrote the book with Abby Ellsworth before it got published, there's that one. And then there's a new one with Abby and Santana True Crime about the book. But those were really fun interviews, especially the last one we did because Santana's in the book so much. He's Jace in the book. And so Abby was able to ask a lot of cool questions from his perspective, which was really, really fun. Make sure you guys head over to sheepdogholsters.com, sheepdogholsters.com, get you a custom. I mean, you've got Donald Trump holsters. You've got Vans. I've got a Vans one on it. It's got the Vans logo on it. You've got some monsters ones. You've got horror movie ones. I mean, make holsters great. I mean, you got all the camouflage, Wu-Tang. I think I saw Wu-Tang holster. That was pretty sick. So can people just get whatever they want?
Yeah, essentially they just send me the print they want and I have it infused on essentially like a sheet of Kydex, which is a thermal forming plastic. I get it in the sheet and then I have the molds. I cut my own molds. And a lot of times I really only make stuff that I have I actually own the physical pistol. So I buy a lot of guns. It's a great side hustle. So I get to buy a lot of cool guns. But yeah, fitment with a real gun rather than a blue gun or a mold is a game changer. So a lot of most companies don't buy, 50 pistols and a bunch of different lights. They just buy the molds or they 3D print them. I buy the actual guns for the true fitment of a holster.
These are the tightest holsters I've ever used. Like you definitely, and I like that. It makes me feel safe because I have to break them in. But like it's, I have a lot of holsters, Safariland, Blackhawk, everything. And as a matter of fact, I have a 45 that's in a Blackhawk holster right now, and it'll like move back and forth. Like you can grab the pistol grip and lean it forward, and it'll shift back and forth. It won't come out, but it's like it just shifts back and forth. With this holster, like it is extremely tight. Like it's not going anywhere. They're really nice tight holsters. So I really like it. Now let me ask you this. If I wanted to get a custom Sydney Sweeney holster so I can put my gun in Sydney Sweeney, is that appropriate if somebody wanted to do that?
Absolutely.
Man, could you imagine just being like, I'm going to go home and put my gun in Sydney Sweeney, or let me pull out of Sydney really quick?
I think I'm going to have to make one, man, in that denim outfit.
Bro. I don't know about you, dude, but I'm in love. Like I told the kids, I sat the kids down last night. It was a Sydney Sweeney ad that came on, and I sat them down and I said, boys, what do you think about the name Sydney? And they're like, is mom pregnant? And I was like, no. But like, what do you guys think about the name Sydney? My wife's like she doesn't know why I'm asking. And they're like, it's a cool name. It's a cool name. I'm like, so it'd be cool if you like had a stepmom named Sydney. My wife's like, here we go. I was like, I'm just saying, boys, like she could be my future wife. Like this could be your future stepmom, Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah. Sister wives.
Yeah. I would do that. Like, I'm not really, I am into monogamy. Like I love my wife. I enjoy one woman for the rest of my life, but I feel like if there was a situation or religion that like it basically, if Sydney Sweeney was like, if you convert to this and my wife agrees and then we can have two wives, I would be down for it. I would say like, I'm going to convert. I'll do it. Whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
Whatever I have to believe in to make that happen, I will do it.
You put a lot of time into this. You've thought about it. I can appreciate it.
She's killing it right now. She's crushing it. And I think it's because I did that Sydney Sweeney ad that I did. It's got like 28,000 like views or something like that. It's like the biggest picture like image that I've ever had. I've had videos go into the millions, but I've never had like an image go into the tens of thousands range. Just a picture.
I think you look smoking hot, honestly.
Dude, so a couple of like the agent, Danny McBride, the people that he works with HBO Max and everything, there's a project that we may or may not be trying to work on right now, but their agent said that they saw that ad and they said, I look like a GD legend.
Yeah.
So I screenshot that and I'm going to print it out, hang it above my wall because I feel like that's legit. If like they said it, then it must be true.
You nailed it. I'm pretty sure you're the first one that came out. I mean, there were spoofs like with JD Vance and stuff, but yeah, I think you were the first one that actually went full denim, did the photo shoot. Like it was awesome.
Yeah, like people are trying to copy it. Well, let me let me tell you this. My wife, when I met my wife, she said, I've always been above the trend. I was like the first person to ever wear toe shoes. Like, I wore toe shoes in the early 2000s, and people were like, you couldn't even find them. Like, you had to go. I don't even, I think I got them at like an REI, and there was one color. They were like the OG toe shoes, and everybody made fun of me, bro. Everybody, with like my dad, my brother, people I worked with, people in the military were like, dude, that's the gayest shit ever. And then like by like 2010, everybody was wearing toe shoes in the military. Like, dudes were jogging in them. Like, you saw them all over the place. Like, now they're not cool. But so I like to say that I was under that trend. Then, do you remember the Let's Go Brandon NASCAR t-shirts when those got popular?
Oh, yeah.
We were the first. Failure to Stop podcast. We were the first. And then the Hodge twins saw it because we have the same printer. The same people printed our shirts that did the Hodge twins. And then the Hodge twins came next. And then that, like, and of course they did way better. But we sold like, I want to say we sold like 1,800 shirts in one day of those NASCAR ones.
Yeah, those are awesome. I actually did took that print and made a holsters. Let's Go Brandon. It was pretty, those sold quite well too.
Yeah, I saw that, and I like literally called my designer dude, and I was like, bro, a NASCAR Let's Go Brandon design, go. He hit it, and I guess like that race was like on Sunday. On Tuesday, we had those shirts up for sale. And then by like Wednesday or Thursday, everybody had a Let's Go Brandon design t-shirt, NASCAR t-shirt. But ours was the OG. So
you're an innovator, dude. Hey, we just, every once in a while we need to talk, because I think between you and I, the ideas are just limitless.
Yeah. The Sydney Sweeney, like, do you want, like, I'm feeling like an ad. It's like, have you ever wanted to put your gun inside a Sydney Sweeney? Like, here's your chance. But maybe that's too inappropriate. Maybe we'll get canceled for it. I don't know.
You got to figure it out. You got to figure out the right slogan.
There is a new video though of her on the range, in that Keanu Reeves range that all the Hollywood actors train at. And she's putting rounds out pretty quick. I don't know if she's hitting anything, but it's still impressive to watch. So
yeah, it kept getting better for her. Like, she's shooting guns. She's a registered Republican. She was just killing it for a week straight. Good for her.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is the group of guys I was working with that I'm working with right now on the super secret special project. Robert Munich, and you can look at his IMDb, big writer, director, producer, guy like that. But he was like, hey man, he's like, I want to get you on a set. And there's a movie being filmed in North Carolina, and it's got this new actress up and coming. Her name is Sydney Sweeney. And like, I think I can get you on that set for a few days. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, go ahead. Like, it's whatever. And then like, he was like, yeah, well, just let me know. And like what days you have available, and I'll send you the calendar. And I never hit him back up.
Oh no.
And now Sydney Sweeney is like the biggest thing on earth. And I'm like, dude, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I hit him back up?
Yeah, you could add a sister wife. You blew it.
I'm too stupid to put a holster on. You think I'm gonna land a sister wife? I would mess that up so fast.
No, they love the dumb ones. We get love too.
Yeah. I just want I don't know. Sometimes I like to just imagine Sydney Sweeney rubbing my feet, because like my wife has to do all those things. Like, she doesn't have to, but she does them. Like, that's her love language and stuff. And I just like, I don't know if there's another girl out there that I can just like sit down, throw my feet up on her lap, and she knows what to do with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mine harvests the zits on the back, and that's love right there.
Oh, I don't think I don't have any zits on my back, but because I don't do steroids. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. But I don't think she would. If I had a zit on my back, there's no way she's gonna pop those things. She'd be like,
I don't do steroids. I'm very small.
You look huge, dude. You look yoked.
It's the camera.
Oh.
And I didn't mean to do the crotch shot either, but I have my
dude,
camera.
Listen, we're all here for it, dude. We're all boned up, jazzed up about Sydney Sweeney right now. We got you, man, spreading right in front of the camera. Beautiful crotch shot. Look, if you're not following on YouTube, which 99% of you are not, 99% of you are listening into a cop car right now. He's wearing a red Trump style "Make Holsters Great Again" shirt. He's got big, giant biceps, and his legs are spread wide the fuck open, and his camera is literally pointing from his dick to the top of his head. And we're all enjoying it. We're all enjoying it. Right? It's 2025, so I mean, we can't really be judged. Now, we started talking because of the holster thing. You sponsored my kid for a pro event where you sent him basically a pro model deck with his name on it. Absolutely hilarious because it had a Glock 19, which is my son's favorite gun. And, you know, my kid's walking around and everybody's looking at this deck and they're like, whoa. And he's just like, first thing he's like, it's got, you know, Jason Mask, which is like my favorite horror movie. And then it's got a Glock 19 with my name on it. And I'm like, bro, this kid's like 11. He was 11.
He's a big deal.
He's 12 now, but I was like, it's pretty funny. But then you're like, you called me this week, we're chatting, and you're like, dude, I've been trying to get this story out. And I tried to call a couple other podcasters. And I was like, you got a story? And I was like, let me hear the story. And then I listened to the story and I was like, this is the most bizarre, insane story. Like maybe becomes a book one day. I don't know. But what a wild story. And I'm glad that you came on to tell us that story today.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm glad you gave me the opportunity.
This is going to be a lot of fun. So I first have to ask, listen, you can make up different names if you want.
Okay.
That's not Tim Kennedying the situation. I feel like if you use bad street names and you make up names, that's not lying. Yeah. That's just protecting people and yourself. Yeah. You don't have to. You can use real names if you want, but I know some of these people are close to you. You can do whatever you want. I'm just giving you an out on your story. If you don't have to be like, none of us care about the exact dates. So you can tell this story however you want to say it without worrying. Like, we're not worried about you. Like, we don't want you to get canceled because you're a full-time cop. So whatever parts you can tell, and whatever parts you can't, you can kind of make up a scenario that, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he was driving a Ford Mustang, you could say he was driving a Camaro or something like that. Does that make sense?
I'm tracking.
To protect you and your undercover shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you were on the east side of town, say you're on the north side, you know, kind of stuff. Yeah. All right, let's hear this story, dude.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a small town. It was a pretty popular town. I think everybody knows it by now. Big party town, like Havasu City, Arizona. I went in the Army. Went in the Army from 99, got out in November of 2002, and went to work at my brother's towel store. I was working with both my brothers. One of my brothers specifically full-time. He was essentially my best friend. And a lot of the reason why I got that job is because they knew I wanted to be a cop when I got out of the military. And so they were going to allow me that. He was going to let me take days off without getting fired to go test to be a cop. Well, I eventually got hired on. I got hired on by a county agency down in Arizona, and go to the police academy. My entire family comes to my graduation, except for my one brother.
And this one's the best friend brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was a little let down. Didn't understand why he didn't make it. And, as time went on, he kind of became more distant. I found out he was getting a divorce. He was going through a rough time. And I went to visit him with my wife. He invited us over for a barbecue, and he had some tweaker gal, hanging out with him, taking off in his truck, coming back and forth. And that day, my wife and I talked after we left, and I said, I think Shane's, going off the deep end. Like, we just need to stay away from him. And so we did. Well, I start working. I get really into interdiction, doing, drug arrests, gun arrests. I'm just killing it, man. I'm a young cop. I'm very eager. I'm, kind of overzealous. I have an ego. I'm just out there just kicking ass, taking names. I'm producing more arrests than my entire squad put together. And I'm making a name for myself. Well, these people that I'm arresting are starting to kind of tell me, hey, why don't you hate drugs so bad? Why don't you go after your brother? And, I didn't want to believe it. I didn't think it was true. Wait,
so hang on. You're arresting drug dealers.
Yeah.
And these drug dealers are like, yo, don't arrest us. Arrest your brother.
Yeah. Like, hey, you want to focus on a problem, focus on your brother, essentially.
Oh, shit. So did you call your, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
I'm in it.
Yeah, I do remember calling him and saying, "Hey, dude, your name is coming up like crazy." I said, "What is going on with you?" And he's like, "Tell me who's telling you this." I said, "That's the wrong answer." I said, "You should be telling me this is complete bullshit, and you don't care who's telling me." I said, the street is telling me that you're involved in this shit. Well, there's like this big allude that kicks off from another county, some dude on a crotch rocket, girl on the back. And dude, they're doing like over 100 down Highway 95. They have, the city guys have the intersections all blocked off for this guy. He's just like alluding straight through the heart of downtown through Lake Havasu. And they find the bike ditched out. And it actually happened to be, I don't know, about a half mile away from where my brother had been living at the time. And I had a kind of like a CSO equivalent, kind of like he wasn't sworn, but he would go help out cops and stuff like that. Just like a community service officer essentially. And he liked to ride with me from time to time because he had fun riding with me. And I said, "Hey, my brother just moved in this new place over here. I want to go check it out." So I brought him with me. And really it was, I wanted to go over there unannounced and, kind of see what's going on at his house. And he just seemed really nervous. He had like one of the cracked butane torches set up in his living room. I'm like, "Hey, what do you have the 1 gallon green propane tank with crack torch on it for?" And I can't remember what bullshit reason he gave me for why he had it. And that was the day that I was like, okay, he's up to no good. And but he told family that I'd come over, and he essentially lied and just told them I came over there and like searched his house, and that's not what happened. And so I just cut ties with him completely. He's my half brother, so that half of the family just did not like me after that. And so I just kind of kept plugging away, kept chipping away at stuff in the city. And I just got fed up of hearing about my brother. So
when you hear about your brother, like, what are they saying? Are they like are they telling you all the details?
No details, just essentially that kind of like they're judging me. Like, why aren't you your brother's a problem? Why aren't you going after him? If that makes sense.
Right.
Just kind of like, you're out hounding everybody except for your brother. So
and are you like, I am trying to get my brother, but like nobody will tell me what he's doing wrong, or like?
Yeah. So what I would end up, I had other cop buddies that were, work for other agencies. And because once kind of word got out, my patrol lieutenant called me and he said, "Hey, you need to not have any direct, contact with your brother. You need, and you know that, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm not going to do traffic stops on him. I'm not going to, do anything like that." But what he didn't say is he never said, "Hey, you can't bust his girlfriends or his friends or anybody leaving his house." So, that got me uninvited to Thanksgiving and Christmas when I busted a couple of his ratchet girlfriends leaving his house and arrested them on drug charges and towed their cars. And so he was pretty pissed from what I heard. And then he gets like a "fuck the police" tattooed on his calf. Like he goes all in scrote bag.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And trying to keep track of everything. But eventually I'm just like, I'm killing it in the city. I'm working alongside another agency and giving them informants because my drug task force was in Kingman, and Kingman's like an hour away from Lake Havasu. So essentially what he had told me was, "Hey, let the Lake Havasu guys deal with that. I don't want to drive down an hour. They're going to take the case over anyways. So just deal directly with them." I said, "Okay, no problem." So I'm kicking their lead narcotics officer substantial cases, like some of the biggest cases that they had in their history. I mean, multiple ounce cases, ecstasy cases, gun cases. And these are all proactive stops I'm making, either doing surveillance on houses or things of that nature. And on one occasion, I'd been watching a house up in my district, and it was a specific truck. There was a kind of a fleet of vehicles, and I heard the guy was dealing out of that place. And I'm just like randomly driving down the highway, and I see the truck in front of me, and never seen this guy before in my life. I had heard his moniker that I learned later. It was Joker, pretty common in the drug world.
Right.
So I'm driving down the freeway. He literally throws out a lit cigarette out the driver's side window, like 2 cars in front of me, and I'm like, "Oh man, you're mine. Game over." So I stop him pretty close to In-N-Out Burger down there in Lake Havasu, and dude's just giving me the creeps. Just you can tell you're criminal, like you're legit criminals over your career criminals over like, hey, they're just baby criminals. So I could tell out of the gate that this guy was legit. Tattoos, all that stuff, just and just my interaction with him. Well, I run him. He comes back with a parole warrant out of Phoenix, and I get my cover officer there. I typically always do a passenger side approach. I've been doing that for decades. Just my opinion is the safest approach. So I start giving them verbal commands. Hey, you need to go ahead and pop out of the car. And I was like, hey, keep one hand out of the car, open the door.
Yeah.
Because this dude was super sketch. I already had the vibe that this dude was armed. So he just, dead eye shark stares me when I tell him to get out of the car. I'm like, okay, like this guy's contemplating, whether or not this is going to be a good day or a bad day. I draw down. I'm like, hey, get out of the car. Keep your hands where I can see him. He finally, he hesitates a little bit. He complies. He hops out. My partner hooks him up. I go over. I do the search. He had a loaded revolver on him, just like in this like Leatherman pouch. So like one of those small, like not a Dillinger, but anyways. And then he has like an ounce of dope. Find out who he is. He's Joker. I give that information to the local drug team. Hey, I got Joker. I'd never even seen him before. Like we've heard of him. No one knew who he was. He was pretty smart. He was out of the Phoenix area. Like all his vehicles were put into his girlfriend's name. He didn't, he wasn't one of those guys that wanted to be out there. He had, his people selling his dope. He would pick up from Phoenix. And then he'd have distributors. So he stayed out of the limelight, which was kind of smart. What I didn't know is that immediately following the arrest, and he ended up getting like 3, he pled pretty quick. It was pretty cut and dry traffic stop. There's really nothing to fight. Right. And he already had that parole warrant. So he ended up getting like 3.5 years just for that, for my charges and then whatever he got on the PV. Well, I hear things on the street. Some people, some dopers I'm dealing with, they're like, yeah, it's pretty messed up. You arrested Joker, and then your brother took his girlfriend, all his dope, and all his cars. And
so your brother went and took his girlfriend?
Yeah.
He's like, Joker's in jail, dude.
Yeah. He just like hermit crabbed into Joker's stuff. Like, I guess, that's
damn, bro. He's like he's living in his house, drinking his milk, fucking his old lady.
I
got it.
So
smooth.
That really didn't help my cause, because it, from the outside looking in, even in the crazy doper world, the rumors that they say, they're essentially thinking, I busted this dude, and now my brother, and the only person that benefited from it was my brother. So, again, they're the word, hey, why aren't you going after your brother? You're busting. And then he's, moving in on the dude's girlfriend, taking all his dope. So,
it's like Hunter Biden, but like still not as bad, because Hunter Biden did it with his brother's sister. But anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yes, super bad. So that happens. And then I'm just kind of still killing on the street. Well, one of the, I guess I'll just call him like LL. LL did not like me, did not like the fact that I was tearing it up in his city.
So LL is another cop, drugs and vice cop. And he's like, I got this street cop that's coming over here making tons of arrests.
Yeah.
And like, I need him to calm it the fuck down.
Yeah. And other cops know that there is no other competitive area in law enforcement than narcotics. Like it is very competitive. There's a lot of egos involved. Everybody wants to be the top dog. I've never cared. All I cared about was like the end goal. The end goal is busting bad guys, putting them in prison, and keeping them off the streets. And I thought, to me, it was crazy to not share that goal and not want to have that like camaraderie. And, you know, I'm expecting high fives, and instead, you know, I'm getting knives in my back, you know, over it. And so he had kind of made waves with my agency, telling them that I was messing up some of his cases, but I wasn't, because these were people that he weren't even on his radar. And I was putting on his radar. And I was thinking to myself, I'm literally giving you informants. You're getting pound cases from the people that I'm busting and I'm flipping to you. And yet you're still just, you know, pooping on me. So it got to the point where my patrol lieutenant says, hey, they need you to stay out of the city. Let's go ahead and do that. And I maybe kind of, oh, yeah, and I want to make sure I'm trying to stay chronological on everything. Well, so that happens. So I'm like, okay, LT, I'll stay out of the city. Well, detectives call me. We have an escapee, 2 escapees from county jail. They escape. They assault a corrections deputy. They escape. They have a car waiting for them, like straight up movie plot crap. And they bail. They both have some prison time to do. And they're, you know, Kingman's an hour away, but they're still on your radar. You know, hey, they can make their way down here. Well, I check on for my shift for the day. I check in with my sergeant, and then as I'm leaving, the detective sergeant from Kingman calls me and says, hey, we need you to go check out this address. This is where one of the suspects' ex-girlfriend lives, and we need you to talk with her, interview her. And Grant, like, I only had 2.5 years on, but I was stoked. He's like, hey, I trust you. You can handle this. You know, go ahead and go over there. And I said, okay, well, do you want me to bring anybody? I mean, is this safe? Like, there's no reason to believe that this guy's over here. And he said, yeah, just low key it. Go over there, knock on the door, like nothing crazy, see what you can get out. Okay, so I go over there, and immediately this dude just comes out of the dark with his hands up when the door opens. He's like, don't shoot me. And immediately I'm like, oh shit, this dude's here. Like, this dude's here. Like, bad shit's about to happen. Because also, what I didn't mention is that this guy's saying, I am not going to prison. I am going to shoot it out with cops. So I know there's an armed dude inside that wants to kill cops. He's not going to jail. So I immediately, you know, I call for cover, and the guy, you know, walks out to me, hands up, and I recognize him. I'm like, oh shit, this dude, I dealt with him before. I can't remember if I arrested him. It's, you know, this is almost 20 years ago now. And this dude was from Kingman. So it just all kept adding up. This dude's from Kingman. You know, he's a friendly of the suspect. So I detain him real fast, put him on his face. I'm covering down this door. I can't see inside the house. I have nobody at the rear of the house. So I'm blind, man. And I'm naked. I'm all by myself. So I finally get cover there. We go through the house, me and my sergeant, clear the house, go through the backyard, jump the retaining wall. It's like a concrete retaining wall. And we weren't over there 10 seconds, and the dude opened fire on us. And I couldn't see him. He was completely hunkered down. In like, Arizona has really nasty, you know, gross weed bushes that get just ginormous. So he's hunkered down on one of those. He opens fire. Thank God my sergeant just happened to see his foot sticking out somewhere, and was able to neutralize him, put him down, and essentially dude took his last breath right there. When I went to clear him, he had a level 3 malfunction, thank God. You know, he had a stovepipe, and when I grabbed onto him to cuff him up, you know, it was June or July, you know, 110, 115 degrees outside, and he was already cold. And so yeah, it was crazy. And so then we're still amped up because we don't know where the other guy is. So that situation gets quelled. We do, get our admin days and all that good stuff. We get cleared, and then the questions start coming from the other agency. Why was I there? Why didn't I bring cover? Hey, I was like upset too that I got put in that situation by myself. I mean, it could have ended very badly. I mean, I could have walked up and bad shit could have happened. And, but thank God it didn't. But, so again, this agency's pissed. Like you gotta understand. And then also, the SWAT, he was also on the SWAT team. LL was on the SWAT team. So they would have loved to have been able to hit that house and get that custody. So it was just always unfortunate events that kind of made me look bad. It was
right. The perception wasn't good.
It was not good, and it had nothing to do with my own. It was just unfortunate. Well, so so people from their agency are like questioning me about the tactics and what happened, and I'm trying to explain it to them as calmly and professionally as I can. Hey, look, I had nothing to do with that. Like, this was detectives that sent me there. Well, I end up getting information on this guy, pretty funny name, Jack Off Jerry. I'm sure you've heard.
Do you have like internet problems right now?
Right now?
Yeah. Are you having internet issues? Like, you're going in and out now. Just give us 1 second. Go ahead and talk now. Let's see if we got it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you jump out of the stream and jump back into it and see if that'll help you?
Yeah.
Jump out, jump back in. I'll keep everybody entertained.
And don't I just go back to the email?
Yeah.
Okay.
You jump out, jump back in, and see if that'll fix it. So far, I guess what I'm gathering in this story. By the way, great time for a commercial break. Head over to sheepdogholster.com and get you a custom holster today. Like I said, here's the holster that I'm wearing. It is a Vans skateboarding. I have a couple of holsters from him. I have in the waistband holster from him as well. But this one is a chest rig with the Vans logo on it. It looks cool. It fits my personality. And so I love it. All right. Looks like he's back. Let's go. Are you back?
Yeah. Can you hear me better now?
No, that's worse. Go back inside. Are your AirPods dying? That's probably what it sounds like is going on. Unhook the Bluetooth and just go without the iPod. Go without the earphones. Yeah, so head over to sheepdogholsters.com and get you a custom holster today. Also, head over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and grab Piglet and A Seriously Funny True Story. It comes out August 25th or 26th. But you can go ahead and get on that pre-order list now, and everybody should be getting their bookmarkers as we speak. So anyway, let's see if we can get him back on here and see how that sounds. Did you hear me about the earpods?
Yeah, I don't have any of that in.
Okay, you sound good now. Actually, you do sound good now.
Thank you. Okay. Where was the last thing?
So where we're at right now is LL, like you go in and you get caught up in this shootout, and LL wants to know, and the other agency wants to know, why are you there?
Yeah. So I tell him, hey, that had nothing to do with me. I was assigned to go there by detectives and do some follow-up. It was our case. But still, it's unfortunate. It kind of makes me look bad in a way, if that makes sense. And what ended up happening was that, that gets cleared. I go back to work, and I end up getting information about another one of our local drug dealers, and he had a pretty silly name. I don't know how many funny nicknames you've heard over your career, but his nickname was Jack Off Jerry, and R.I.P. and R.I.P. too, because he's no longer with us. But so I get word, hey, he's getting an ounce delivered. And back in the early 2000s, getting ounce cases, I mean, those were awesome. If you could get an ounce at a patrol level, I mean, that was almost the equivalent of getting pounds because it was just, they were an ounce of meth back in 2006, 2007 was about $1,200. So a lot of your street level guys weren't running around with $1,200 worth of dope on them. Well, I set up, I go do surveillance on his house, and it was in the city, and I shouldn't have been doing it based on, my lieutenant telling me to stay out of the city, but I'd arrested a guy in my jurisdiction that gave me the info about Jackoff Jerry. So I was like, well, kind of a line where I'm getting the information out of my district and I'm just acting on it. So that was how I told myself that it was okay. So I'm sitting there, I'm watching, and I see a pickup truck, no plates on it. Kind of does a hard break in front of the house, creeps by it. This is super odd. I thought maybe they were going to deliver, spotted me, and now they're leaving the area. So I think, all right, well, I'm burnt. They saw me. I'm just gonna go do a traffic stop. So I go to light it up, do a stop on it, and it just takes off like a bat out of hell. It's eluding recklessly. It's blowing stop signs. It's jammed through town. So I'm putting all that information out over the air, telling my dispatcher I have an elude, last direction to travel. This is where it's headed. And I just continue my pursuit. And, I'm still like kind of driving towards that area. I'm rules of the road. I'm stopping at stop signs, all that good stuff. Well, out of the corner of my eye, because I'm coming to this 4-way intersection, out of the corner of my eye, I just see this white SUV hauling ass towards me, and jams in front of me, slams on the brakes, cuts me off. And I see on the door, it said, at this agency, they would have like patrol lieutenant or patrol sergeant written on the door. So this other agency, patrol lieutenant, right in front of me, I slam on my brakes. He comes flying out of the car. He's screaming in my face. Why am I chasing? He's throwing his finger in my face. I have like 2.5 years on, less than 3. And I'm the calmest guy there. And this guy, had probably like 20 plus years. And this guy is just losing it on me, screaming at me, almost touching me with his index finger in my face. And I'm doing everything I can to diffuse the situation and explain to him, hey, and he's like, why are you chasing my narcotics officers? I said, sir, yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, I had no idea. They just got that unmarked, because I pretty much knew all their unmarked cars.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the only reason why I tried to stop it, because I thought it was affiliated with the house I was watching and it didn't have plates. So he's like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to talk to your agency. Just threatening me. And so like, in 20 minutes, my sergeant wasn't working that night, but there was other sergeants in other districts. So that sergeant from another district calls me, hey, what are you doing to piss this guy off? And this dude had actually worked for our agency previously and was all the stories I heard about it. Never heard any good stories about him, honestly. And so I'm explaining myself. This is what happened, yada, yada, yada. And again, I'm told like, hey, you just need to stay the hell away from the city. And I was essentially like banned. Hey, you cannot even drive through the city to go to your districts. You jump on the highway, go to your districts, stay out of the city. And it was actually pretty humiliating. Like, it really irritated me that this agency had so much control over me, and that I didn't even work for them, and that LL was causing these problems for me but I was still always a team player. Like it could have been a few days later that I was busting somebody and calling LL and giving them informants. Like, it didn't matter to me. I was still going to be a team player. Right. So, I end up making a traffic stop late at night. It's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I stopped this guy and Scotty Too Hottie. I don't
These
mind.
are great nicknames. We got Joker, we got Jackoff, now we got Scotty Too Hottie.
Yeah, right. Jackoff, Jerry, Scotty Too. Yeah, so Scotty Too Hottie, I had a pretty long pass with him. I'd busted him several times. In Arizona, if you're driving while suspended, it's a crime. So you get arrested, and you have to tow the vehicle. At least they did back when I was working there in Arizona. And so I arrest him. He's freaking out. I find dope. he had some false containers, like a fire extinguisher that wasn't a fire, the canisters that have false bottoms and stuff like that. Well, there's a mag flashlight that, obviously when I moved it, there was like a D cell moving around in there, but there was other items, other things. And I'd already, I think, got some residue baggies and stuff like that. So I cracked that open, and there's like approximately quarter ounce of methamphetamine. So I'm like, jackpot, this dude's going to go to prison. I've been trying to get him because he was a very low level dealer.
Right.
So he starts freaking out. He's like, hey, I actually have a child dependency hearing in the morning. I'm trying to get custody of my kid back. And I was pretty blunt back then. I said, well, I don't think you should. And I'm tough shit. Like, you shouldn't have your kids. You're a drug dealer, dude. And he was enraged, obviously, probably not the best skills to get somebody to talk to you. But I didn't care back then. I was like, hey, you go to prison for drugs. So I could care less if you work or not. It's up to you.
Right. Yeah.
So, soft spot, I kind of wanted to get him to calm down. I said, hey, look, if you want me to call LL, I'll call LL, but you need to tell me who you're buying from, who you're getting from, where they live, what they drive. That was always my spiel. Who are they? What's their nickname? What's their name? What do they drive? Where do they live? Who's their girlfriend? All that good stuff. Because I want to be able to provide good information to the narcotics detective. So he just won't answer me. He just won't talk to me. He just goes mute on me. He won't talk to me. And I thought it was really weird. I said, okay, well, look, I have my business card. I said, I'm going to write LL and other narcotics officers are always okay with me giving their work cell out to these guys. I said, I'll tell you what, you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write down his phone number. It's going to go on your prisoner property. When you get out, you want to call him and try to work these charges off, go for it. So a few days later, I get called into the office, and they're like, hey, you need to run up to Kingman. There's some allegations, and you need to go talk with the IA sergeant. I'd never been involved in an IA, anything like that. So I started asking my sergeant, what is it about? I don't understand. Can you tell me what's going on? And they're like, you'll find out when you get up there. Okay. So I jam up to Kingman. I sit down with the IA sergeant. I sit down. At the time, I don't know if Arizona is a union now, but we're non-union. So we had like, the Fraternal Order of Police, like guys that were representatives. So I had my FOP rep in the room with me when I started getting questioned. And like the questions were, are you communicating with your brother? Are you supplying information to your brother? Are you giving him information about search warrants?
Informants, yada yada.
Yeah, everything. Like they're asking me all these questions, and I'm getting enraged. I'm getting pissed. And so I'm telling, and like I said, I had under 3 years on. So all I'm thinking is I have been working my ass off, just kicking ass, taking names, and I'm just getting shit on right now for doing my job. Like all these other guys that just come in, clock in, do their 9 to 5, answer their calls for service and go home. Nothing happens to them. Like they don't do anything extra. They just answer their calls. They go home. And I remember thinking it must be nice to like not have that drive and not have to worry about repercussions. And so it was really upsetting. And so like all these things are running through my mind while I'm sitting in this chair that I'm doing my job. I'm not doing anything wrong. And I feel like I'm making a difference, but yet I'm sitting in the hot seat right now. So I was pretty pissed. And so then I'm telling them, hey, look, I have a cell phone bill. You can take my cell phone. You can take my cell phone bill. I do not communicate with my brother. We're completely alienated. I don't even go to Thanksgiving or Christmas anymore. Like I'm the bad guy on that side of the family. And so there's nothing nefarious going on. Then it goes into how much drugs did you seize off of Scotty Too Hottie, a few nights ago? And I'm like, I don't know, approximately 7 grams of methamphetamine. And he says, what if I were to tell you that Scotty Too Hottie said that there was more drugs in the car. And I said, well, then I'm thinking in my head, did I not find something? Did I, he did have,
maybe you missed it.
Yeah. Did I miss something? There were false containers in the car. But unfortunately for me, I'm a early 20s cop with a huge ego, and I'm thinking like, I didn't miss nothing, dude. Like, I tossed that car. There is not no, all the dope that he had, I found, and it's in evidence. And, I that's one thing that, looking back on my maturity level, I could have been like, hey, I don't know. There could have been more drugs in the car. These guys are crafty. I can't say every car that I've ever searched, I've found everything, man. That's just how it goes.
Sure.
So, but I'm very confident. No, I seized all his drugs. I turned it in, and he's like, well, he's alleging that he had more narcotics in the car, and that those narcotics were provided to your brother. And like, my jaw hits the floor almost, and I'm just thinking to myself, what is going on? How did I get here? How did I get here? And, this is when I lost my cool. Him and I are going back and forth. I'm screaming at him. I'm like telling him, not screaming, but I'm yelling, and I'm saying, why he has nothing to lose. I'm like, the guy had a dependency hearing in the morning for his kid. This dude's doing everything he can to get out of prison. He's just a criminal piece of shit. And he's doing everything he can to throw me under the bus to get out of his charges. So we go through more questioning. He's very unprofessional to me. He's very rude. I've known several IA investigators, several IA sergeants since this incident with him. And, that's not the way you handle those, especially with a cop. Like it was a very, unfortunate interview, and the whole way it went. And so I get done. The FOP rep's like, hey, now's the time to tell me anything that you're leaving out. And I just look him in the face. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have nothing. Like, that's it, dude. I don't talk to my brother. I said, he's got "fuck the police" tattooed on him, man. I said, I'm disowned from his side of the family. I don't even go to family functions anymore. Like I remember on Thanksgiving Day, we happened to be going down the freeway, and we are driving by them, and his ratchet girlfriend that I had arrested is waving to us out the window on Thanksgiving Day while they go to my side of the family's house, and I got to go to my side of the family's house, almost like a big F you to me,
right?
Because I usually would go with them.
Right.
So yeah, we were completely, disconnected as brothers anymore. So I get done. The IA sergeant comes back. He's like, hey, so meet me tomorrow morning, bright and early. I don't know, 7, 8 a.m., whatever it was. Meet me in Kingman. We're going to drive up to Flagstaff. There's an FBI polygrapher up there. We're going to have you do a poly. And I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm thinking to myself, all this is a tweaker talking. There's no evidence that I've done anything wrong. The only evidence they have is that I'm kicking ass and taking names. That's it. Like, I've done nothing wrong.
That's the same thing what happened with the Holtzclaw case. They believed all the pieces of shit, but all the real credible witnesses, they just were like, oh, well, they could be lying. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, so you're going to believe all the people that lied for a living, but like the people that have never been caught living, you're just going to say that it's because they wanted Holtzclaw to go to jail. They wanted to bust a bad cop. And I write about that a lot in my book, that's the problem with internal affairs, is that those guys are so excited to bust a cop that they will literally get target fixated on the wrong thing and ignore the evidence, be horrible investigators just so they can say that they bagged a cop. And I think that's disgusting.
It is. And thank God I've never, besides that one time, like I said, every other IA person they've always been on the up and up, and they're fact finders, and that's all they should be, are fact finders. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, before I even got hired to be a cop, I had to take a polygraph test. I'm like, all right, what choice do I have? What choice do I have? And the FOP guy's like, dude, you should want to do this polygraph. And I said, are you crazy? Why would I want to do a polygraph? This is nuts. I've done nothing wrong. But I'm like, all right, I'll go do it. So we drive up there. The guy says 0 words to me on a 4-hour drive. Like, other than when I get there and meet up with him and get in the car, he doesn't say one word to me. Like, just psychopath, dead stare ahead of him the whole way up there. I'm like, okay. And so I get there, I meet the FBI polygrapher. Dude's a 10. He's professional. He's just a good guy. Like, I could tell he's there to do a job, and he has no judgment. He's just there to do a job. So I get there, I go through my battery questions, like your pre-questions and all that good stuff. So I'm like, all right. He starts hooking me up, puts things around my chest, the cuff, things on my fingers, and then sitting in this chair, and then out of nowhere, he takes this like orbital camera and then swings it in where it's like directed on my retina. And I'm like, okay, this is new. This is highly uncomfortable, but whatever. So we go through the questions, all based off of, me having anything to do with my brother, keeping narcotics, because it's essentially what they're alleging is that I am seizing narcotics, keeping a portion of those narcotics, giving them to my brother. My brother sells them. We turn a profit. I mean, just the stupidest scheme in my eyes. Like, dude, like this isn't even believable. Like, I'm going to risk everything for, it's just, there's no amount of money that I would risk my career, my integrity, anything. And so, let alone what they're alleging me of. And so the whole thing is crazy to me. I get done with the interview. I get done with the poly. I'm pissed through the whole thing. But I'm still calm, and I get done. He's like, all right, we're all finished. I don't ask him if I passed. I know I passed. I'm not concerned about it at all. He says if he has a few follow-up questions with me, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna go get your sergeant. Okay, cool. And he shakes my hand. And in my head, I'm like, damn right you're shaking my hand, because you know I'm clean. And so I see him. They go down the hallway. They have their little interaction together. And then the IA sergeant comes back and gets me. He's like, all right, you ready to head out? He's like, you passed. You're all good to go. And now he's my buddy. Now he's shaking my hand and wants to know if I want to go have lunch. And I just told him, I'm like, dude, I got a Pop-Tart. I'm like, no, I have a Pop-Tart in the car. I like, just get me home. And he's like, and then he's all offended by the way that I'm treating him. And I said, dude, you said 0 words to me in a 4-hour car drive. This whole time you've acted like I've been guilty of something and you don't even know me, man. I'm like, this is the first time I've met you. You work out of my district, outside of my district. I've never met you. And he's justifying his act, like, hey, I've had to investigate dirty cops before, and you just never know. And I'm like, hey, dude, there's a way to investigate somebody. There's a way of going about
you're always innocent until proven guilty. Like, I don't even treat suspects that I know are guilty as bad as IA will treat you when they think you fucked up. It's like, go fuck yourselves, man.
This guy was bad.
Do you get cleared of that whole investigation?
I get cleared. I go back to work. Then my lieutenant, I think, so this is what I ended up finding out. I ended up finding out that when Scotty Too Hottie calls LL, he tells LL all the shit about me and my brother, that I'm taking drugs and and that I'm providing my brother all this information. So it's my understanding that LL goes to his administration and tells them, hey, Quint's being alleged of this stuff. We need to do something about it. We need to report it to his agency. So this complaint came from an outside agency to my agency, from an upper level admin. So my agency, had to treat it accordingly, unfortunately, because this is where it was coming from. So I think Scotty Too Hottie ended up taking a plea deal and all that stuff. Well, my lieutenant pulls me in the office, and he essentially takes the handcuffs off me. He's like, hey, you have free reign in the city. You just go do whatever you want to do, wherever you want to do it, as long as it's in our county. And he said, we did this investigation. We knew you didn't do anything wrong, but you needed to go through this and essentially clear your name. He said he almost sold it like we did you a favor. We did you, and even though it didn't feel that way, he's like, we did you a favor. We did a thorough investigation. You were polygraphed. You're clean. Now, if anything else comes down the pipe from this agency, he's like, I recommend you get a lawyer and you sue them.
Right.
Because
and then this is where the story gets crazy, because now you're working in their city.
Yeah.
And you start to roll up on some drug dealers, and what do you find out?
Well, again, my brother is heavily involved in narcotics activity. I still cannot go after him directly. So I'm recruiting my other cop buddies that are proactive. I'm like, hey, you need to go hit. My brother had moved to another house. I'm like, hey, you need to go hit this house. And because one of them had a recruit, I said, you want to get your recruit into drugs? Go hit this house. That's my brother's house. Anything coming and going from there is probably going to be good. So they make a stop, and unfortunately, he passed away. He died in a motorcycle accident. But he was a 10, man. He's a good dude. So him and his recruit stop this car leaving my brother's house. They get consent to search it. His recruit pulls out this big old bag of shredded paper out of the center armrest, and good on Webb. Webb sees that they have taped, he thinks it's weird. Why is there looks like a cell phone bill or something like that. So the tweaks had scotch taped like 4 pieces of it together, just enough for him to see. I can't remember if he saw my name, which is very unique, or like a piece of my phone number. And he's like, dude, that's Quint's cell phone bill. So he calls me. They do the whole case. He logs.
Shit.
Yeah, he seizes it. He puts it into evidence, and then he calls me. He's like, "Hey, dude, what do you do with your cell phone bills?" I'm like, "I shred them." I'm like, "I shred my cell phone bills. They go in the trash. I take them down to the end of the road, into my driveway." And he's like, "Dude, we seized your shredded cell phone bill out of a car leaving your brother's house last night." And I was just no. So literally, the dopers, the criminals, are doing what we do. The trash runs. At least in Arizona, we would do trash runs on drug houses.
Yeah.
They
We
put
do
the
them all the
trash
time.
out. Yeah. So they did a reverse run on me, pulled my cell phone bill. They were trying to figure out who my informants were. Yeah. So this obviously only enraged me and was like, dude, you got we just started leaning on them hard. Really going after them. I ended up doing like a 4-month stint at a police academy where, I'm training new recruits, because I had the military background, and they wanted me to get, and you got to be able to do all the physical fitness stuff with them and stuff like that.
Right.
So they sent me there because of my military background. I went and did like 4 months of that. I came out. I also got temporary assignments to do undercover narcotics work. So I was being trained by our guy out of our narcotics agency out of Kingman. So I got to scrote out, still had all my old like skateboarding hoodies and all that stuff. So I got to not shave and go run around with the undercover narcs and work some cases, get my first foot pursuit, not wearing all my gear. Felt like Carl Lewis. But yeah, so I'm rocking. I have a good time. They send me to ANOA, which is the Arizona Narcotics Officers Association. The big narcotics meet.
Right.
Narcotics team. I go to Phoenix. I'm like hanging out with LL and other guys from the team, because I always wanted to play nice and I always wanted to have a good relationship with those guys. I work several cases with LL, like search warrants, drug seizures, big cases for the time. Still watching my back around them. So what ends up happening is I may be leaving some stuff out, but it was a perfect opportunity at the time. For me, my wife and I'd already promised her that we'd move up to Oregon. So that's what we do. I lateral, I move up to Oregon, but prior to lateraling, I have an IA investigator doing my background. And, just kind of like I was telling you, and you're like, what is going on? I'm telling this sergeant, hey, so in my background, because he asked me, hey, have you ever had any internal investigations? Yes, I have. What were those?
Right.
okay, well, my brother's a drug dealer, and this is what I was alleged to be part of, and I had a polygraph test, and he's like, "You were cleared?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I was cleared. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a cop anymore." And so, but he was very interested in the story, and I was like, after we got done, I told my wife, I said, "They're not going to hire me. Like this is." I figured I was going to be working at my previous agency for a lifetime. I was like, no one's going to want to touch, even though I was cleared. That is a wild story. And, like the risk reward, a lot of agencies is just like, I don't know this, even me, if I heard that story,
yeah,
like, man,
you'd be like,
do we want to take a risk on this guy? Like, I don't know.
Let's just get the next guy.
Yeah. It's super weird. So, but thank God, they did a very thorough background on me where they go down to my agency, they talk to my bosses. They didn't talk to LL, but they talked to other guys on that team that were actually legit and, were actually friends of mine. So I make it, I come up here, I'm doing the same thing. I have to start all over, go through FTEP, start at the bottom of seniority. I'm kicking ass, taking names down here. And my brother ends up getting popped, not even for drugs. He ends up getting hit for like a burglary, and he goes to prison. And I thought about writing him. I never wrote him, but I had like told my dad, hey, tell him I love him. I hope when he gets out, he's back on the up and up, because, you want your siblings to do well. So that happens. I end up going on a road trip with some buddies from work, and we go down to Lake Havasu. We stay like one night. So I hit up one of the guys on the NARC team that was working with LL. And so I call him, like, hey, we're at I think it's the Naked Turtle down there. Like, hey, we're at the Naked Turtle, man. I know it's last minute, but can you make it? And like a true friend, he's like, yeah, dude, I'll be right down. He jams down. And mind you, this was an outside agency guy that worked on that NARC team.
Right.
And, but he was a 10. He knew me. He knew that JJ was an asshole, or LL was an asshole. So he meets me down there, and we're talking, and I bring up the elude, and I said, dude, it's been killing me. I said, what happened that night? Like, do you know what happened? Why did LL elude me like that? That was crazy. And
why he fled from you blowing stop signs and red lights in a narcotics vehicle. Okay.
Yes. And he didn't even know what to say. He said, dude, that was like my first week in narcs. And he's like, I just kept my mouth shut. He said, I had no idea what was going on. No idea. He's like, I didn't ask questions. I didn't say anything. He said, I don't know what that was all about. I said, okay. And then he says, did you hear about LL? And I said, no. Like, what, is he the chief of police now? Because this dude was the golden boy. Right. The golden boy.
The guy that hated you more than anybody, who's getting these street level arrests, working with informants, and these informants all seem to be going back to LL, and you pull him from one of these houses, and LL takes off on you. So this guy.
Yeah, LL. Okay. He's on all the agency TV commercials. Like, you're watching TV, cuts to a 2-minute commercial. He's standing there. I'm LL with this agency. The dude was 6'4", just yoked. He could have been anything you wanted to be at that agency. Anything. Like, everybody loved him. So, and then here's me, just this doofus, So everybody loved JJ, or LL. Not many people liked me. So then he's like, yeah, LL got arrested. Like, you haven't heard? I said, no. What happened? He says, well, he was like hooked up with a gal in the crime lab where they test drugs, and they were alleged to be taking drugs. He was like taking buy money, like all this shady shit, and he got popped, and he's no longer a cop. And I just, like, that feeling when you're like vindicated.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and I didn't have any kind of, I'm like, that piece of shit. And I hope he does some serious time. And I'm just like, how much time is he going to get? He's like, well, he's looking at like 10 years, because it was like over 40 counts. And I'm just like, this piece of shit made my life like a nightmare for almost 6 years when I was working down there side by side with that other agency. You know, backstabbing me, all the shit talking, the IA, everything. Like he made my life hell down there, and could have like completely.
And he was the one selling the dope and doing the buys and doing all the shady shit.
I don't know. I don't think he was selling, but he was definitely abusing. Is what it is my opinion of, based on the things I've read and the articles I've read, is that he was probably using. I don't know. Him and this gal, whatever the relationship was, but he got caught. And so, dude, I don't know how many cases I worked with LL that they had to drop. They had to drop charges. I know that he ends up, based on articles, he ends up going on the run for like several years, goes on the run. They don't know where he is. They have these outside. So during that time, witnesses dying, probably witnesses ODing. They're old. You know, we're talking over the investigation on him started in 2013. He resigns. They file charges in 2016. And it isn't until like after 2020 that they finally get him back. And, they have to do a change of venue. Right. I think everything's out of another county up north of where we were working. And I'm just like reading these case updates and just enraged. Like, this dude made my life hell.
But now he's sitting in bang you in the ass prison.
Yeah, that's the thing, is he, just like criminals, he knows the game, and he's been pushing this thing out. Like, he's been firing his attorneys. So we're talking, they filed on him in 2016, and he still hasn't had his trial. So he's still pending. They're talking about lightening the sentence and trying to get him to plead a less time. And it's so infuriating that this dude isn't being held accountable. And
that's crazy, man. So you go from like, the perception is that you're the bad guy, but at at the end of the day, the dude that's ratting on you and trying to put all the heat on you is actually the one that's guilty. That's awesome, man. So what made you want to make holsters?
Honestly, just being a cop and having to go to either grand jury or other training functions, and you're not wearing your full battle rattle. So right. I was buying expensive holsters from people. They were uncomfortable. In my opinion, they sucked. And so I just thought, hey, I think I can do a better job at making holsters. I wear them for a living. And so I think I have a good idea of what's comfortable and what works. So I just started out in like 2013, but started actually like selling them in 2014. And then in 2018, I invented the chest rig, what you're wearing now. And like, I did the whole design patent. I did it all by myself. I didn't pay any lawyers. I just had to like hire some like 3D rendering artists, because there's certain things you have to do to apply for the federal patent. So I applied for that federal patent, for the trademark patent for that 3-point chest rig. I get that. And I'm just like really proud of those, really proud of that design. They're super strong. I don't think there's a better chest market on the market. Like, you can hand that down to Duke, and Duke can hand that down to his kid. Like, it's going to last forever.
Yeah, dude, I love it, man. I love the story. I thought it was just a bizarre story. You don't really run into a lot of cops whose brother was, caught up in this insane investigation. And I'm sure you were shitting your pants during the whole IA criminal investigation and the days leading up to it. I can only imagine. Guys, if you haven't already, head over to sheepdog.com. Listen, we're going to do a Christmas special. Probably around October, we'll start pumping these things out. But like, look, if you want to grab a holster now, head over to sheepdogholster.com and then start preparing now to get your loved one or your significant other the right holster. You can order now and have it custom, so that when Christmas comes and he's having to do a whole bunch of orders, and then you're like, oh, is it going to come in time for Christmas? Is it going to be here in time? Like, let's go ahead and do it now. Like, let's start getting in the bulk orders now for Christmas. That's when you want to start prepping. So head over to sheepdogholsters.com. Follow him on Instagram. He's very hard to find on Instagram. He's definitely shadow banned on the Instagram. So you'll probably have to find him through my page. but I'll put a story up on Failure to Stop and everything with a link right directly to his sheepdog holsters. And I will be with Andy Stumpf next week. I'm flying out of here this weekend to Montana. So I'll be flying into Bozeman and then over to I'll be flying, and then I'll be over in Kalispell at the Black Rifle Coffee Place over in Kalispell. And I will be giving Andy Stumpf a custom holster designed by you that you designed just for him. Like, you did this idea. It'll be custom. So that's going to be really, really exciting. So head over to sheepdogholsters.com, get you a custom holster today. Greg LaMontagne from the Bars Over with Beth and Greg just got into the chat and said, "You son of a bitch, I'm in." But yes, we appreciate you. A dollar late, dollar short, dollar late, whatever it is. I don't know. But guys, head over to sheepdogholsters.com. Make sure you get your copy of Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story. We will see you next week. Don't know how next week's going to go, but make sure you're following Andy Stumpf. Follow Mandatory Fun Day because I'm going to Montana with him. And so we'll be putting out all sorts of weird content and goofing around and hanging out in Montana for the week. So you can follow me and keep up with everybody there. Thank you so much, Quint, for coming on today. We really appreciate it. For everybody else, guns up, giddy up.